Hello, listeners, and welcome to episode 17 of the Avocado Gamescast, the Avocado's gaming podcast. I'm Merve, and today we're going full consumerist. Yay! We're going to discuss why we buy the hardware we buy. Spoiler alert, it's because we have no self-control. But before we get to that, let's meet the rest of the crew. Join me today. He's the console that's also a dick joke. He's the Nintendo Wii of people. It's Science is Bad.
Hello.
And also joining me today, you can touch him in the front or the back. Making his triumphant return to the podcast is the PS Vita of the group, BannerThief.
The PS Vita was a dramatic failure, but it was kind of ambitious in its failure, so I guess it sums me up pretty well.
I don't think you're a failure, BannerThief. You're on this podcast, which means you've succeeded in life.
That's true enough.
This is the greatest thing that any of us will ever achieve.
That's true. It's spoken like a true avocado.
That's so true and so sad.
Yeah, this is what my life is now. This is what it's come to. Speaking of things that are kind of sad, what we did last week was we discussed... we kicked off the podcast by talking about minions and what the consistency of their bodies was. So I actually put up a poll, and I asked the rest of the community, are minions' bodies rubbery, gooey, doughy, or spongy? And with 0 votes, bringing up the rear, we have gooey. With 1 vote, we have none of the above. With 2 votes, we have all of the above. 2 votes, we have spongy. 3 votes, we have doughy. And in a runaway victory, with 11 votes, we have rubbery.
Ew. I don't want to touch a minion.
Yeah. So it turns out that
rubbery.
people think minions' bodies are rubbery.
They look kind of rubbery, so...
Yeah, they do.
I wonder if they're like touching snakes. Like you think they're going to be all slimy, but you touch them and they're actually like really dry and scaly.
Yeah, I think maybe they are a little reptilian, but without the scales. So the same kind of feel as a reptile, but without like the squamous bumpiness that they have.
I just bet they're really dry. I bet you touch it and it like sucks the moisture out of your hand.
Yeah, and
now, the question is...
You can feel like your mouth kind of go dry and your tongue go numb, and then that's what happens when you touch a minion.
Okay, the question is if they trip, do they bounce?
I don't know. I haven't watched enough Minion film to be able to answer that question.
I don't get the impression that they're bouncy. Maybe they're like the salt monster in that one Star Trek episode that sucks the salt out of your body.
Okay. Good reference.
And is that where they get the bounciness from the salt? I think from sucking up the moisture, they become kind of. Do they become like turgid when you touch them? Like they suck the moisture out.
I mean, parts of them do.
They're actually salt and moisture vampires. They actually kill people sucking juices out of them.
Okay, so moving on from minion erections, we play video games. That's why we do this podcast. So I want to know, what have you guys been playing recently?
Well, I will say right off the bat, I am very late in playing a lot of games from last year, but the one I've been playing most often the last few days is Battlefield 1. It is the latest entry in the Battlefield saga.
Oh, I thought are they doing the same thing with the naming conventions? Like Xbox, they go from 360 to 1, and here they went from 4 to the number that comes after 4, Hardline. 4 Hardline 6, and then 1.
Yeah, it's like the Fast and the Furious franchise. This is the first one in the series. You have to watch it to understand the rest of them.
Yeah, I thought I thought we were talking about the first Battlefield, so 1942, aka Battlefield 1, aka the World War II Battlefield, but it's the World War One Battlefield because it's the Battlefield 1 because it's the first. And
it's actually like the 8th or 9th one in the series, depending on how you're counting. So whatever.
I count Bad Company as part of the whole Battlefield thing.
Oh yeah, I do too. I like those games.
Yeah. So how's Battlefield 1?
Battlefield 1 is so weird. It has some of the same problems I still associate with the Battlefield series. Like the shooting doesn't feel amazing. The bullets don't feel meaty. It feels like you're shooting enemies, and as soon as you kill them, they kind of just do their animation, and you can't interact with them anymore, which has always been one of my pet peeves with shooters. It feels numb. It doesn't feel like you're shooting at people, and I want to feel like I'm shooting at people.
So no World War One teabagging.
But the other problem is,
I want to feel like it's real, man.
Yeah, that's my point. I want to feel like I'm really tearing those bodies apart. But really, I have other problems with it. My main problem is that it is trying. This is the first one to really try seriously with its campaign. It has 4 or 5 different distinct storylines, each with about 4 or 5 missions where you're fighting on a different front in the whole entire war. And there's like, here's one where you're playing as a tank crew. Here's one where you're playing as a lady helping Lawrence of Arabia, and here's one where you're doing beachfront stuff. And they're each kind of, well, here, this is our take on All Quiet on the Eastern Front. This is our take on Lawrence of Arabia. This is our take on the on Fly Boys, that great James Franco vehicle. Everyone loved that movie.
I haven't even heard of that movie, which tells you how much I love it.
Yeah, it's that good. My main problem is that it takes itself extremely seriously, the storytelling, and the writing doesn't live up to that, to how serious it's trying to take itself. It starts out with a big text crawl saying, well, 60 million people fought in World War I, the war to end all wars. It ended nothing.
Yeah, that's a little pretentious. Like, see, the reason I love something like Bad Company 2 so much is that it doesn't take itself seriously. So it gets that B-movie feel really spot on. It ends up being really fun. But if a game like this ends up taking itself a little too seriously, and I understand they want to pay respect to the subject matter, but it's a really difficult tightrope to walk, and sometimes I think they fall off.
Yeah, there's a point. I remember some of the marketing before it came out saying we're gonna treat this subject with respect. We're gonna really try to pay homage to the soldiers and really honor their sacrifice. We're even gonna have a big section where you play as the Harlem Hellfighters, one of the most famous segregated units in the entire war. They had to fight alongside British troops because Americans didn't want to fight alongside black people. And oh God, we were so racist. But then it's only one mission. It's a bad tutorial, and then it's over, and then that's it. It's all you see of them.
Yeah.
It feels like they wanted to fake like they were going to try to take it seriously, but then just kind of drop it by the wayside. And no, you're just gonna go over here and play as the good-looking white people now.
Interesting. I've heard there's no you're never playing as France. That's kind of weird. Like in France or as French people, which is kind of weird because that's like there was a major part of the war.
Oh yeah, so far all I've played as is British and Americans and British, even Britisher people, and even more Americans, because there's one American who just seems like generic American. There's another American with a Southern accent, and there's British people of different strengths of accent. That's who you're playing as.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it seems like they tried to tell a lot of stories sort of well instead of one story really well, and maybe a greater deal of focus would have benefited the game.
Yeah, it's a shame because it came out around the same time as Call of Duty Infinite Warfare, which, while still being a Call of Duty game and still coming with everything you associate with that franchise at this point, managed to outdo itself in storytelling in a way I really wasn't expecting, by telling one admittedly kind of dumb and played out sci-fi story, but telling it very well with characters you actually liked and wanted to see. And this one just feels like we just have Battlefield 1 just feels like we have archetypes of characters, and but we don't really spend any time with them to sketch them out. So they can't really do anything other than just, well, you're a stereotypical British tank crew, and you're just playing as a new guy who joins up right at the beginning. You seen the movie Fury? It's exactly like that.
Yeah, but those vignettes look more interesting than anything that was up to this point in any Battlefield game. Like, I haven't been interested at all in Battlefield, and I think this kind of while you probably could make a good Battlefield campaign with the usual like progression style of a linear campaign, I think these vignettes actually kind of fit the the style of the game and like the the theme of the game of being a big war with a lot of people being engaged from like a lot of different parts of the world, and it seems interesting. But if it's not done, especially well, then I understand it's not. But the idea was maybe interesting sound.
Yeah, I think it's something. I think they had an ambition to sort of cover the entire war. I don't know if that's something that can really be done justice, though. And I think these things benefit from, say, concentrating on one aspect of the war and doing that really well. But it's ambition that I do appreciate, an ambition that is sorely lacking at the AAA level.
Yeah,
and I'm
I
glad
will. Yeah, I want to like it more than I do. There are some things there are some things it's doing all right. I do like. I'll admit some of the characters, while being very archetypal, are still likable in the very much the storyline set up basically forcing you to root for these characters in some ways, because that's they're tropey stories for a reason, because they work. I don't know. It's just some of it just seems like they tried to do their homework but gave up halfway through. Like what I really don't like
me in
probably
college.
says everything. Yeah, the thing that really says everything about this game is the very first gun they give you is a fully automatic machine gun that you can just carry around with you.
Mm-hmm.
What World War I was famous for, fully automatic weapons.
But they have some interesting like things that I think they did some research on. Like there's a full armor thing that one of the Italian soldiers is wearing, that actually existed, I think, and all the tank designs are very accurate from what I've heard, and some of the things are actually kind of interestingly accurate, and World War One was such a weird period in history that it's fascinating to actually see a little bit of it from what I've seen.
I don't know. Maybe some of it just seems like they really tried to do everything they could to make you not just use bolt action rifles. They're like, well, those are just boring. Let's just give them a machine gun. Let's give them a shotgun. Let's give them everything else besides the weapon 99% of soldiers use.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, I guess it's not that much fun to base a video game around running around with a Ross rifle or a Lee Enfield.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I guess it could be kind of interesting in a survival horror-ish kind of way, giving you a weapon that backfires 30% of the time.
Yeah, but that's not Battlefield, unfortunately.
That's the problem with wars of this period. Like you go back far enough, the weapons start being fun, and that's why we've probably never seen a real good Civil War game, is because who would have fun with a lot of single shot rifles, and that you would have to fire once, take 15 seconds to reload, fire again. Like only a select group of people would even like playing a game like that. The rest of them would be like, why can't I automatic fire? Where's my M16? Woo.
Yeah,
that's my impression.
That's
of
why you make
the average video game player.
Time traveling Civil War game where somebody comes back in time.
Like Darkest of Days.
Yeah, Darkest of Days, the worst game I've seen for quite a while. Also, World War One took place a lot of time just sitting in trenches, so that would probably also be pretty boring.
Yeah, and then dying from trench foot.
Yeah, so
you want to make an accurate game. Well. You sit in the trench for 5 hours, and then you come down with sickness. You spend the next 3 hours in a hospital bed, and then the black screen and the game ends.
It's very
Dysentery Simulator, 1916.
Yeah, but that's war, that's depressing. So they didn't want to do that. They wanted to do like funny, let's just like ride horses and shoot guns at each other. Woohoo! Yeah.
I mean, you're going to make a shooty bang bang game. You have to make the shooty bang bang interesting. So I get what they're going for, but it does, I don't want to say necessarily make it unrealistic, but make it atypical of what war was like in that period.
Yeah.
So Science, what have you been playing?
Well, unfortunately, I've been playing some Dark Souls 3.
Unfortunately?
Yeah, I really love Dark Souls. I'm a big fan of the series. But I've played Dark Souls 3 for about 23 hours, which is not a huge amount for for Dark Souls. I'm more or less halfway through the game, maybe a little more than halfway through the game, and I stopped playing like a couple of months back. I don't know, like maybe 6 months back. And I just couldn't get through a tough part of a game, which is standard for Dark Souls. But yeah, no, something about it is really frustrating. So I came back to it this week, started playing it again, and like played it for a couple of hours, and I'm still stuck in that part. And I think I might be done with Dark Souls. I don't know. I think I'm done with the whole thing. It's maybe Dark Souls 3 isn't as well made as the other ones because there's something about it that, or I might be getting older, because there's something about it that frustrates me more than these games usually do.
So is the sort of typical gameplay loop of the series not present in Dark Souls 3? Like, does practice not make you better in this game, or?
No, it does, but there's something I'm not quite sure. Like, I don't know. There's something missing, or maybe, as I said, I'm getting more frustrated that I'm just losing hours. Like, I feel like I'm banging my head against the wall. So maybe I should go exploring and, find some new stuff, but it's less obvious, I guess, than in the past where I should go and where should I explore and where I can go. And I don't want to go to a FAQ and look at that. And it's all kind of frustrating. I'm not quite. I don't see myself finishing that game, which is a shame because
You finished the other two.
Yeah, I finished the other two. I 100%ed the first one, which took me 300 hours. Yeah, so I really like these games. And the art is still fantastic. Like the area where I'm in, where I'm banging my head against that, it really looks it's gorgeous. It's fantastic looking. It's beautiful. It's this beautiful, like a gothic. Well, it's all gothic, right? But it's like this snowy, ashen castle kind of area that has like these like tall, lanky looking weird swordsmen that are like using magic. It's a kind of like a dreamy, like a gothic nightmare type of thing. It's really beautiful, but oh my god, it's so frustrating because it's not. I don't think I like they kill me with like 2 swings. I can kill them with like 2 swings, right? So it's like
So it's almost like rock paper scissors.
Yeah, it's kind of like that. It doesn't feel good. It's not like I can't get through to the next bonfire no matter how hard I try, because even if I I perfected this part of the run, I make one little mistake and I'm back at the bonfire, which is really frustrating, and I kind of quit. So
yeah, it sounds like a checkpointing issue. Like the bonfires are just not close enough together.
I think people really complained that the second one had too many bonfires, and they scaled that down, which I don't think was a 100% good idea, because like I think they should have added a bonfire like halfway between where I am at and where the next bonfire is, because it's just not fun. Like I know these games are supposed to be like that.
Yeah, it's supposed to pride themselves on difficulty.
Yeah, and like I've seen the concept of the progress in Dark Souls, and it's like it's a fun little like a chart of how it looks like. Like you're supposed to like waste your time. Like quote unquote waste your time with the game until you reach a like a point where you like get through the next get through the hump, get to the next bonfire, and then you progress, and then you reach a new like a point where you can't do that, and you waste a little bit more time of mastering that part of the level and so forth. But
yeah, it seems like this endless loop almost. Of
but this time it's
getting slowly better.
Yeah, but this time it's just not good. So I played also. So I not just to get not only talk about a bummer that's been not being able to progress to Dark Souls.
So I wanted to ask you: do you think maybe there's some problems with them having made 5 of those types of games in 7 years? Do you think maybe you've just reached your limit with that type of game?
Oh yeah, that's definitely part of it. I think it was a very cool novelty the first time I played Dark Souls, right? And everybody says like, oh, the first time you play, the first Dark Souls you play, the first Souls series game you play is your favorite Souls series game, and then the next game you play, it's your less it's like the more you play of these games from the series, the less you like them, and I think that's true because there's the novelty lies in mystery and player communication and difficulty, and once you like played a lot of those games, it's less interesting and more frustrating. So yeah, maybe I just I have to like really not play these games for a long while and then return to them. We'll see. Just to add another game to not only talk about a bummer. I've started playing Danganronpa 2, which is a fun.
Ooh. Have you played the first one?
Yeah, I played the first one to completion. It was really cool. I think I like 999 series a little bit more, but it's still kind of in that kind of that kind of style game of like a digital novel that also is a game more than other digital novels. That's about Japanese high school students trapped in one place, and they have to kill each other, and then you have crazy trials to figure out who did it.
So I've not played any of that, even though I've been wondering about getting it. Is Danganronpa the one where it's basically a battle royale, or is that the 999 series?
999 is like a Saw type thing where one person is.
Okay.
Yeah, one person is killed because of the mastermind that's pulling the strings, and you kind of have to figure, like, you're constantly in danger of your life, and you have to figure out riddles not to be killed by the mastermind. And the Danganronpa.
That just sounds like life.
Yeah. Yeah. Preach it. And then Danganronpa is like, oh, these high school students are killing themselves. Each other, and you have to figure out who killed whom. At the trial. So that's the difference, I guess.
Yeah, the nice thing about Danganronpa is that it sort of blends the visual novel style of gaming with almost something like Ace Attorney-ish, but
yeah,
the action that the logic puzzles also involve reflexes, so it's blending 2 or 3 different styles of game together into a weird cocktail.
Mm-hmm. I also played a little bit of the new Ace Attorney, but I haven't gotten far yet. So yeah.
So Danganronpa is actually one of my favorites. The sequel a little bit less so. It does some things that I think are a little more gamey, and there's a reason for that, which I'm not going to spoil. But
they're in a video game. I don't know about it. It just seems like such an obvious twist because they're so heavily implying that. I don't know. I don't confirm it, but it's
I'm not
very
going to
obvious.
confirm anything, but I will say that whatever you think is going on, there's more to it than that.
Okay, cool.
All right, moving on.
The twist is that we're in a video game.
Oh no! Am I earning points now?
Can I re-roll my stats and
yes,
be taller
please. I
more
need to put all of my stuff into
I want
charisma because I failed miserably.
Where's my strength bonus? I thought I was I'm wearing a +5 vest and it's not doing anything.
I also need a cheap, easy way to make gold really fast.
I want to hack this game because I'm not doing very well.
You guys seen that? There's like this subreddit which is something like our real life or something like that.
Oh yeah, I saw
Look it up. It's just like how to survive in the MMO of life.
Yeah,
Jesus.
Yeah, there's a lot of weird stuff on Reddit.
It's a jokey thing though, so.
Yeah, it's one of the good subreddits. It's
Yeah.
not one of the awful ones that keeps getting reported on in the news for brigading or harassing people. Reddit's a mix of good and bad, like most websites. So what I've been playing, or actually what I just finished playing, was Yakuza 0, which is the, not counting spin-offs, 6th entry in the Yakuza series.
Man,
They went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 0, 6. 6 is not out yet in the West. In any case, Yakuza 0 is the prequel to the whole Yakuza series, and you get to see the origins of two of the series' main characters, Kazuma Kiryu and Goro Majima, and how they came to be in the criminal underworld of Japan. It's a really weird game for me because typically when you think of, it's often sold as the Japanese GTA, but I think that's the wrong way of selling it. It's more like the Japanese Bully, if you will.
I would say it's like a better Shenmue.
Yeah.
Shenmue, from what I understand of the Yakuza, Shenmue was very much, well, it was trying to be, you are living in this world and all the other NPCs are going around having their own little adventures. It was almost like you were playing as a character of The Sims whose father was murdered and you have to navigate through the Sim world in order to find him, which obviously that game was made before they could really do any AI to live up to that promise. But Yakuza seems very much more straightforward. This is an open world, and you walk around and you talk to people and you do your side missions and you can own businesses.
Yeah, but it's also like very, very slow and deliberate, and there's a lot of like side activities, and you can play Space Harrier, so it reminds me of
Yeah,
Shenmue
it's
a lot.
Well,
There's
Space
definitely-
Harrier means Shenmue for me. That's honestly
Yeah.
how I learned about Space Harrier. Was playing Shenmue.
Yeah. I mean, there's obviously a little bit of Shenmue in its DNA, but I think the closest Western counterpart would be Bully.
Mhm.
And that's not a bad thing, let me tell you.
Yeah.
I actually much prefer it to Bully, if I'm being honest.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, it's the same sort of thing where you have the combat is mainly beating people up, which you will do repeatedly throughout this game, like hundreds of times. And the rest of the gameplay consists of mini games, everything ranging from karaoke to dancing to racing stock cars. Some of these mini games are more fun than others. I didn't spend a lot of time doing, say, batting practice, but I did karaoke 4 or 5 times. So it really depends on what you want to do. There's also a simulation element. So there's a real estate element and a hostess club running element. There's a really awkward
the hostess club.
Pardon me?
You got to tell me about the hostess club.
Okay, you're doing your best creepy voice.
It's not. I don't think it's a sexual thing. Some of the hostess clubs are just like, oh, let me hang out with you.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's the one where you pay the women and they're like, hey, I'm going to pay you, but you're not going to take your clothes off. You're just going to talk to me.
Yeah,
Because
so
I'm a
there's-
lonely
they
salary
actually,
man.
Hostess clubs generally have an explicit, no touching rule. So yeah, it's basically paying for companionship from attractive ladies.
I'm sorry.
Like escorts, but you sit down. Yeah, so you can run a hostess club, and it was a little awkward trying to explain to my roommates what a hostess club was because they're watching me play it. But yeah, it's an interesting experience to go through all these different side activities. Now, Banner, if you want to know...
now that I think about it, it's also a lot like Shenmue that it lets you experience Japan culture a lot.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it's very much steeped in Japanese culture. The first Yakuza game in the series, the original one, was dubbed in English, but to my knowledge, no subsequent ones were. And I can't imagine playing a dubbed version of this. And I'm somebody who's very pro-dub in general. Like, I got mad when Digimon Story didn't get dubbed last year. Still played it, still enjoyed it, but I really wanted to get dubbed. This game, I can't imagine playing dubbed. It would be so bizarre.
So I have heard that the dubbing on that first Yakuza game was atrocious in kind of an amazing way.
Yeah.
Like they westernized it in the way like late 80s anime. People were westernizing, dubbing, like adding in tons of swear words and just making everyone with the most ridiculous accent. Oi, I'm from America.
I love
all speak like New York accents.
I love the stilted way of dubbing that they did in the 80s and 90s. It's amazing.
Yeah, dubbing has changed a lot, and I think people still have bad memories of growing up on anime from the 90s. And how bad, like, the Sailor Moon dub was.
Yeah, Cowboy Bebop, though, was like one of the first dubs that was actually really good. So
yeah, and it's not even like, and it's really good by the standards of those times. Nowadays, you consider Cowboy Bebop like an average dub.
Yeah,
but by those times, it was like the first time we'd gotten a legit, really well done dub.
Yeah.
Them in the Studio Ghibli films kind of led the way, and having dubs that weren't ear bleeding.
Yeah.
I remember experiencing Princess Mononoke in the dub, which had we have Billy Bob Thornton and we have actual actors who can actually voice act doing the dub, and it's pretty good.
Yeah. See, and even the thing is now, like I've listened to some of the Studio Ghibli dubs. Sorry, Ghibli? I forget which one it is.
It's either
Ghibli.
one, actually.
Ghibli is the actual word, but they pronounce it Ghibli in the name. That's how it goes.
They're crazy.
Yeah. They're weird.
Those Japanese people are crazy.
Yeah.
I think we say this on every podcast. So it's strange that Disney got all the celebrity talent and not really drawing from the typical voice actor pool when they do their dubs. I actually prefer the Ghibli dubs that were done by, like, say, G-Kids. They did From Up on Poppy Hill, and I believe they also did when Marnie was there. And I think those are slightly higher quality dubs because they're from people who do dubbing for that's like their main business, whereas Disney it's sort of like a side business for them almost, so it's not something that they specialize in. So if you want like the really good Ghibli dubs, the less popular Ghibli movies are what you should check out.
Yeah, I haven't even heard of either of those, so there you go.
I've seen where Marnie was there. Good dub, yeah.
Good dub. Very strange movie. Very bizarre movie.
Oh yeah, definitely. Kind of fun though.
Does it turn out that Marnie wasn't there at all?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. We're kind of spoiling
Spoilers.
It. Spoiler. We're gonna put a spoiler warning at the start of the section. We're spoiling when Marnie was there. Marnie wasn't really there. Well, she was there, but she was there, but she.
This is like the twist ending in My Dinner with Andre when you realize it was actually just a nice little brunch instead of a dinner.
Like this island is actually a peninsula. No, it's a very bizarre movie the way it ends. Not necessarily the way it ends, but it's a movie that has to keep you in suspense about something for most of its duration.
Yeah, and you kind of question reality. Sometimes it feels like a Lynch movie where you're like, I'm not quite sure if this is reality or not anymore.
Yeah,
well, that sounds great.
It's almost like Perfect Blue for kids.
Yeah. That's a good review of that movie.
Yeah, it's a little bizarre, and there's a reason why so many people interpret it. I would say misinterpret it as having queer undertones, where it
yeah, definitely. I was watching it. I was like, is this about that? And then it went the other way, and it
went the other way. Okay. And there's still some people who stubbornly cling to that belief, but I'm like, if you think that's what it is, then you kind of have to believe it's incestuous, too.
Then there's some problems in that movie.
Yeah. Anyway, Yakuza 0, not incestuous, but very enjoyable. As far as the plot goes, it's a very well told, aside from some elements I think are a little bit far-fetched, I think it's a very well told crime story, which is not something it's not something that I get out of, say, GTA, which tends to be a little too scattershot. in its approach. It's something where they were very focused on the story they wanted to tell, and they told it really well. So it's something that made me appreciate 10-minute cutscenes, which is something I never thought I would say.
Oh yeah,
I take it you're not a fan of Metal Gear Solid.
I've never actually played Metal Gear Solid. I need to get around to doing that.
I seen both games in action. I played a lot of Metal Gear Solid. I played a lot less Yakuza, but I watched it play a lot. And let me tell you, those like cutscenes from Metal Gear Solid and cutscenes from Yakuza couldn't be more different. Even though they're both like sometimes 10 minutes, 15 minutes. Yakuza just likes to like have two characters talk through some problem while on like a nice comfy couch, and you're like you're like taking it all in, and it's a nice scene, and it's nicely shot, and it has atmosphere. Well, Metal Gear Solid, some anime bullshit that they're just flipping around and
from what I've seen, Yakuza is very much. It almost feels like a prestige television series about the Yakuza, where it's like, oh, we'll just have like a big 10-minute scene where two characters just talk to each other about something that maybe might not advance the story, but it'll get you to know these characters. Whereas Metal Gear Solid is moving. Oh my god, anime. Oh my god, robots. Oh my god, nanomachines.
Yeah. Nanomachines, son.
Yeah, Yakuza 0, like, there are a lot of scenes where you spend time with, they're all advancing the plot generally, but there are a lot of scenes where you just spend time with people in very typical situations, just like people hanging out at a ramen bar, or people chilling at a cafe. And it sort of mixes these very mundane things with, the fantastical, unrealistic side of the Yakuza. And it does it in this really interesting way. The other thing I'd say about these cutscenes is that they're very, very much indebted to cinema and television, especially in the way they present. The people who made these games clearly understand a lot about camera angles, how to frame things in a way that amplifies the drama.
Now I gotta say the latest entry in the series is way better than the first entry in the series from what I've seen. They evolved really, like the camera angles and the style of the games like evolved very clearly throughout the years. So
yeah, and there's a reason they're remaking the first Yakuza game, which should be coming out this summer, I think, at some point.
Yeah,
at least in Japan. I don't know when they've announced the Western release, but we'll see. All right, so let's move on to the meat and potatoes of this particular podcast. So we all play a lot of video games, meaning we all have machines on which to play those video games. And we all have to make... I don't think any of us own every major console that's out right now. I don't think any of us own the Ouya, for instance.
Oh yeah,
the major console, the Ouya.
The major console. Well, major in terms of press coverage. Not all of that
major
was positive.
In terms of 90s slang, major console.
Major console.
This console's so radical.
Their name was like a 90s drink mascot. It's like the Kool-Aid Man.
Yeah, a pro wrestler should be bursting through a wall and giving it to a kid like, drink this and you'll become buff like me. It totally has steroids in it.
Yeah, the all tilted camera angles and like crazy zooms and everybody screaming, "Oh yeah!"
And that type of slow-mo where instead of just actually slowing it down, they just like have the frame so everything stuttery and looks like garbage.
Yeah, fantastic.
Man, the 90s were garbage.
No, we're talking about the Ouya commercial.
The 90s were terrible. Randy the Ram was right.
Yeah, fuck the 90s. So enough dumping on the 90s. We all have video game machines of various types. Some of us have game PCs, some of us have consoles. So I think what we're going to discuss today is why did we buy what we bought? I mean, there's a reason I don't own, say, an Xbox, but I do own a PlayStation. And I was wondering, what influenced your console/handheld buying decisions?
All my money goes into my gaming PC. I actually just bought a new graphics card. It's funny. Nice. Right before this, I got an AMD RX 480. which is kind of they're kind of the top end of the mid scale.
Yeah, I've heard that's
getting much more than this. You get
nice
into the
card.
1070s, and you get into cards that are $100 more at least to get anything better. So this was kind of where I said
At that point, it's
plays
diminishing.
everything at 60 frames a second, which is what I'm looking for. So that's fine.
At that point, it's diminishing returns too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm right there with you, Banner. I have like a mid-scale graphics card. The next step is like a 1080, which I probably will buy next year, because I'm not the games are still running like on like the highest details. They're running like either 60 frames or close to it, so I'm not gonna buy a new card anytime soon. But it's
I got a GTX 970. When that becomes the minimum, then I think I'm gonna upgrade.
Yeah, although I do have a PS4 and a Wii U and a 3DS, so I have a couple of other things going on, and I bought them all because of exclusive games, and that's it. That's the only reason I buy a console, because I can't play something on something else. I don't care about social features, multiplayer. I don't care about all that crap. I bought PlayStation 4 because I wanted to play Bloodborne, and I wanted to play Uncharted, and I wanted to play Persona, and I bought 3DS because of a bunch of smaller titles I want to play, and I bought the Wii U because I wanted to play Mario Maker, and I wanted to play the new Zelda that I thought was coming out, but actually it probably will be better on the Switch, so they kind of fucked me up with that one.
You planning on getting a Switch at some point?
I bought the Wii U like 3 years after it came out because I wanted to get it cheaper. So I don't see myself buying the Switch out of the gate, because I don't feel comfortable buying consoles when they're new, because there's so few games that I can play on them. So I wait like 2-3 years to see what kind of library they build around the system.
Yeah. I know it's weird to bet against Nintendo because they've been doing this for longer than I've been alive, but I don't know. Something about the Switch just doesn't. It feels. I'm just not exactly sure what they're thinking with it.
I think they're thinking
it's not a tablet. It's not really a handheld because its battery life is crap. It's kind of an underpowered console. It feels like it's 3 different underpowered things rolled up into one underpowered thing, and I'm not exactly sure why one would want to buy it.
I think what they thought was, okay, we have 3DS and we have Wii U, and we got plenty of people playing the 3DS. Like there's millions of people playing 3DS, especially in Japan, but other parts of the world also. And we come out with a bunch of games for 3DS. And then we got Wii U, which isn't doing so well, but some people are still playing it, and some multiplayer games are still popular. And people prefer to play on a big screen. Why don't we just smoosh them up in one console, and like every game will come out on this thing instead of 2 separate things, and we don't fracture the market. We have one central thing that will focus all of our groups of people that want to do one or want to do the other, and it'll be great. And then it's kind of like middle of the road. Like now nobody's happy quite.
Yeah, I feel like the people who want a new handheld from Nintendo are going to be upset that the battery lasts 3 hours.
Yeah.
And the people who wanted a new console are going to be upset that it's still not quite to the level of the other consoles. They still feel a generation behind tech wise.
I don't think it's a whole generation behind, but it's like half a generation behind, which still angers some people. But I never thought of Nintendo as people that go after like graphics and tech like that. It's more like, okay, what imaginative things we can do with the thing we have, and gimmicks and such.
Come on, man! I want to see Zelda's hair blowing in 4K HDR. All the rays of sun glittering off of her gigantic cell-shaded forehead.
I just want to see every strand of hair on her goddamn head. If I'm
I
not
want every
seeing
single
that,
strand to be individually computed. I want.
Yeah,
I want.
apply tress effects to Zelda.
Yes.
I want every eyelash to be separate and like moving in the wind in a separate direction.
Remember when tress effects was a thing when the first Tomb Raider, well, not the first Tomb Raider, the Tomb Raider reboot came out, and then people tried it, and it looked like shit, and it like halved the frame rate.
It was,
I
it was
remember.
terrible. I want to say it was a 680, which was at that time basically the best card you could buy, and I remember it bugging the hell out and just couldn't handle it.
I played The Witcher 3 and when I turned that on, it still dropped like 10 frames. So I said, "No, fuck that," and I just turned it off. So
It doesn't even look good. It looks like, speaking of fuck the 90s, it looks like those fucking 90s screensavers with like the shifting lines.
If it wouldn't do the FPS thing, I would still turn it on because it's better than the flat hair alternative that I don't like. I never liked video game hair. They always look terrible. So if you could just like tress effects is not great, but it's better than alternative, and maybe in time it will get even better. So maybe. But for now,
I think the problem is that it's one of differing scales of graphical prowess. Like remember LA Noire? Like everything looked like it was like a really basic 2011 overworld video game, but the faces were so hyper detailed and expressionistic that it just stuck out that you have these really next level advanced faces on video game man body. And it's like, well,
you go
God.
back,
It was so bizarre because their hand movements and their body movements were so plastic.
Yeah, it looked like a 2011 video game, but with a 2018 video game face slapped onto all the models, and you're going, God.
Yeah, we're humans, but we're trapped in puppets. That's how it looked like. No, you get back to LA Noire now, and it's not 2018. It looks worse than like Until Dawn and some of the games.
There's been video game expressions have gotten a lot better since that game. Since
but
the
it
area
still
in which
looks
that game came
amazing
out.
but it still looks amazing for the system. You're like, whoa, there's nothing like it on.
It looked great. It overheated my 360 when I played it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a strange experience at the time, and I think it would look a little dated now, especially since we've had games like Uncharted 4, where they've really matched the body language in terms of fidelity to the facial expressions.
Oh yeah,
I think it's important.
Amazing, yeah, looks amazing.
And all the Skyrim mods I've installed to make all my characters 4K, and they look pretty great.
Yeah, don't tell me about your Skyrim mods.
Oh, I'm going to tell you about my Skyrim mods. That's a different podcast.
Yeah, that's
the After Dark podcast.
The highly detailed butt hair podcast.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, speaking of Uncharted 4, I think that's the reason I bought my PS4, was to play Uncharted 4, because I love the first three. Well, I love 2 and 3. Less said about 1, the better. Mm-hmm. And I really wanted to see how the quadrilogy, I guess, ends. Yeah. So yeah, that's why I bought it. That's not a word. That's why I bought my PS4, was to play Uncharted 4. And then the other games that I got shortly after buying it were things like Gravity Rush Remastered, which I haven't finished yet because I don't enjoy it that much, and Digimon Story, which I really enjoyed a lot, and now Yakuza 0.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
What's Digimon?
What is Digimon?
It's like Pokemon, but not. It's the
Imagine Pokemon.
All I ever knew was Pokemon. It felt like, what if all the Pokemon were dinosaurs and this was lamer?
Okay. No. So Digimon has its origins in virtual pet Tamagotchi-esque games made by Bandai. So like they're basically like Tamagotchis, but with a different brand. Then that expanded into an anime series that was way fucking better than the Pokemon one.
Yeah, it was interesting.
I mean, the Pokemon anime was terrible. You're not blowing me away with this.
Yeah, but it was more popular. But Digimon was way more complex and interesting.
Yeah. So basically, if you grew up watching those particular series, then you remember the Digimon anime series. Unfortunately, Digimon didn't have the same success with video games as Pokemon did, because for the most part, Digimon video games are utter shit.
Yeah, garbage.
Yeah, one exception, Digimon Story Cyber Sleuth, which came out in the West last year. It is excellent. It is basically Persona, but with Digimon.
More like Borsona.
Yeah, I knew. Yeah, Banner. I knew you.
Wah.
You can't do that joke 2 times. Oh, wait.
One of them
wasn't
not recorded.
One of them was.
Yeah.
One of them
Well,
won't make it. In.
ladies and gentlemen, be aware that Banner did make that joke before, so it's a rehash of a bad joke. Not only a bad joke, but a rehash.
I mean, we rehash jokes all the time. Like when we
That's
make fun of
true.
Sonic.
But not when it's for Persona, which is a fun game, and Banner doesn't know shit.
Oh, shots fired, man.
What Persona game have you played, Banner, that you're so critical about it?
I've watched Giant Bomb play Persona 4.
Yeah, and that was not good.
This fucking Giant Bomb. They're boring as shit.
I skipped past all the gameplay.
Oh, God damn it!
I'm kidding. I don't watch much Giant Bomb. I can't tell you whether they're boring or not.
I like both.
Yeah. You like both Giant Bomb and Persona.
Yes.
Look at you,
So-
Mr. Positive.
My main problem is that I grow incredibly frustrated very easily with the JRPG style of gameplay where it's, oh God, I have 10 hours of grinding between me and the next big story element. Oh,
Yeah, that's a
God.
problem.
Persona
that's a-
4, if you play it in the easiest difficulty setting, is balanced so that you don't have to grind.
Yeah, but what's the fun in that? I want to be challenged, but don't have.
I just want to experience.
grind.
I would want to just experience the crazy Japanese story. Like I don't care. I don't care about
Then
any
you
of
can
that
watch the
stuff.
anime version.
Oh yeah, the anime version is pretty okay
They
too.
made an anime series.
Yeah, it's pretty okay.
So you can
I like
watch.
Catherine. That was a good game.
Yeah.
Yeah, Catherine was okay.
It was like an actual game instead of Grindfest.
Did you? Is that the reason? Is Catherine the reason you bought a PS3?
No, no. Catherine's kind of the reason never mind. This is going down a weird tangent.
I think we're already on a pretty weird tangent.
This is also for my After Dark podcast.
Mm-hmm. Understandable. Catherine.
So
is
Catherine
a little bit
is the reason that you dated two women named Catherine at the same time.
No, that would be that would be a pretty good story though. I should have lied and said yes.
completely coincidental. Everything.
Yeah, it had nothing to do with the video game, I swear. So Banner, you mainly say you play on PC, but
Yeah.
I guess you have owned a PS3, given that you played
Yeah,
Catherine.
I owned all of the previous generation of consoles. I owned a PS3, 360, and for a brief period, I owned a Wii before I sold it because I didn't have any games I wanted to play on it.
Smart choice. So what made you buy the PS3 and the 360?
Well, my parents bought them for me.
Ah,
360 was just because because it was the first one out. It was out in 2005, and I was like, I've got to get a next generation console. And my mom's like, fine, maybe this will stop your whinging, you little shit. And then she got me the console. The next year, was like, well, I want a PS3, and she's like, no. But then she got it for me in 2007 anyway, because she said, fine, maybe this will stop your whinging, you little shit. If maybe if I'd get distracted with a console game, she wouldn't have to beat me as hard.
Oh, it's the truth police. It's coming for BannerThief for too much sharing.
oh, it's the oversharing police.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I played video games a lot, and they were kind of my pastime. And so my mom, she made good money, so she said, you know what, I'm going to get you your console because that's what you like. It's not like you have any friends to talk to.
Yep.
We're getting
fair
so
enough.
real.
That's more or less why I'm playing video games. So let's not kid ourselves.
See,
It's a good way to spend some time when you're alone in your dark house with your alcohol.
I will say I mainly played the 360. PS3 I got, and I think I ended up owning about 4 games for it, so that was money well spent on my
But there
mom's
were-
part.
There were good exclusives.
Yeah,
for
it was
PS3.
Uncharted 2, Uncharted 3, and then I can't remember the others. I do remember at some point in 2012 the Blu-ray drive in it broke and I never got it fixed. So that was the end of my PlayStation 3.
I think I still think it's very important to have a console because some assholes are still not putting out games for PC. And I'm still mad that Red Dead Redemption never came out on PC. Fuck you, Rockstar.
Oh no, didn't they say the third one, the next one's coming out this year?
Yeah.
How much
yeah.
you want? I will bet you money right now that it gets delayed.
Yeah, it will get delayed, and it will be on the PC like a year after it comes out on consoles. But
As a year after, that way they can milk all the money they can from the multiplayer for the PlayStation, and then they'll release it on PC.
Yeah.
Yeah, they'll do what they did with GTA 5 probably.
It sucks because I wanted to like the GTA 5 multiplayer so much more than I did. By the time it came out on PC, and by the time I really got invested in it, it was hacker central, and Rockstar didn't give a fuck about fixing any of it. They just want you to buy more shark cards.
Yeah.
It's all about the sweet microtransaction money. We talk a lot about how EA and Ubisoft are scummy, but Take-Two is pretty scummy themselves.
They're all scum. We should kill them all.
We don't advocate
them out in the street.
We don't advocate killing on this podcast.
I think between the three of us, we don't have enough manpower to do anything to those guys.
Yeah, especially like little flabby arm guy like me. What am I gonna do?
I have no muscles. Actually,
I'm American. I own 27.3 guns per capita. While I have the manpower for an entire army.
I'm Polish. I own a butter knife.
I'm Canadian living in the States. I don't know what that means, but I assume I won't be able to do much. Probably just go to my maple syrup stash and throw it at them, and they'll be all sticky and they won't be able to move.
Ask them nicely to stop doing what
just lure them out with some Labatt Blue, and I'll take care of them.
Yeah, sorry to bother you, eh? Could you follow me outside there and
my friend Banner will
let's go
join my friend Banner? He's in need of help, eh?
Don't mind the surgical gloves on Banner. He's just like that.
Oh God.
What were we talking about?
We're talking about the proctologist's office. We were talking about consoles, I think. Maybe. Perhaps.
I think we've been talking about, for a second there, we talked about Rockstar being dicks and not making exclusives.
Yeah, they are dicks.
Yeah.
My God.
Rockstar, everybody's dicks. That's the way the industry works. So some games, I think, you said a lot of games sort of sell you on a system.
Yeah.
And for me, Uncharted 4 sold me on the PS4. What would it take to get you to buy, say, an Xbox One?
Nah, I don't think I'll ever buy Xbox One because I don't like Halo. I actually dislike Halo after a lot.
Careful, Kappa's editing this podcast.
I know, he loves Halo. But I played Halo 1. I didn't like it at all. I played Halo 3 and I still didn't like it. I like fast-paced first-person shooters a lot more than consoles first-person shooters, so I just can't get behind Halo. That's fine. That's fair.
I think the main problem, for me is the exclusives. Neither of the consoles really have enough exclusives to make me want to shell out the entry fee just to be able to access them.
What I'll say here is that the reason I didn't buy Xbox One is because Xbox One is an American console with plenty of American games that also come out on PC. PS4 is a Japanese console, and still some crazy ass Japanese things come out of it that don't come out on PC and never will probably.
Yakuza 0, man.
Yeah.
Until Dawn is not some crazy Japanese game. Why won't it come out on PC? I'm crying.
Because it's Sony and it has its exclusives and
I'm weeping. I want to play Until Dawn.
Especially, but now Japanese game developers are getting in on the PC market. Tales of Berseria had a simultaneous release on PC and console.
But let me tell you that. Let me tell you this. This Gaia came out a year ago, 15 years after it came out on console. So I'm not quite sure about the speed in which they are coming out on PC.
Yeah, for sure. They're going back, though, importing old games that wouldn't have gotten ported in the past, like all those Final Fantasy ports that are now on PC. Basically, every Final Fantasy is on PC now except for 15.
And 12.
And 12. Oh, yeah, 12. Isn't 12 coming, though?
No.
No?
No,
12 is the one I would want to go back to too. That sucks.
They said like, oh, 12 is coming out. Oh no, wait, it was just miscommunication. Forget about that.
No, sorry, we're just wait on tenterhooks for our Final Fantasy VII remake that everyone really wants to play.
I mean, why are they? I mean, I understand tapping into nostalgia, but it has its limits.
I don't know.
That game just seems like it is a game being made without a market in mind. Like the purists are going to be upset that it's not the Final Fantasy VII they know and love, and the new people are being like, well, okay, like this is based on a story that was weird 20 years ago, and I feel like it hasn't been updated. Like, are they going to keep the transgender sequence?
And
yeah,
we also
are they
already
going to keep the snowboarding?
I don't know. I know
you don't
that
take
it
snowboarding out
matter.
of a video game.
I know
Yeah,
it
you
doesn't
add it
matter.
into every video game.
I know it doesn't matter. Nothing matters. People are gonna buy it anyway because it's so big.
I mean,
The
is there a
name is
point to
so
playing
big.
it now that we already know that Aerith is dead?
What?
What?
You piece of garbage! I was playing Final Fantasy VII for the first time.
Boo-hoo,
I just
Snape
met
killed
that Aerith,
Dumbledore.
and she's like, "Well, this Aerith is great. I hope she doesn't get horribly murdered."
Oh no! Oh,
Maybe
my
there's a way to
items and
save her. There's a
equipment.
secret way.
She when first time I was playing it, I had the best items equipped on Aerith when she died, and the game doesn't give you shit. It doesn't give you any of the items back. That piece of shit game. God damn it!
It's the Dark Souls of Final Fantasy.
You have to go back a save to unequip everything, and it's like 5
They
hours.
have to watch the same death sequence again, and she keeps dying and dying and dying again.
Rewind, Sephiroth kills her. Rewind, Sephiroth kills her. Oh well, we're in a fun loop.
Yeah, it's like Edge of Tomorrow, but
Iris,
Japanese.
I want you to move now. It's been the fourth time you've been. Oh well, doesn't matter.
Yeah, so I mean, this is a trend though that Japanese games are starting to come to PC. Like NieR Automata is getting a PC port, although they haven't announced when it's coming out. Then Ni no Kuni 2 is going to be on PC as well. It's strange to see all these games that would otherwise be PS4 exclusives.
Yeah.
Now
it was surprising to see Ni no Kuni 2 on PC. They said it was coming out on PC and it was like, what? I think it was the first big Japanese game that will have a simultaneous PC and console release, except for like
Metal Gear Solid 5 did as well.
Yeah, Metal Gear Solid 5 did it. Yeah, that's true.
So,
Man, I'm looking at the games coming out up here soon. We've got some bangers coming out in the next few weeks. We've got Sniper Elite 4, Sniper Ghost Warrior 3.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing else I can think of.
Why are we talking about Sniper Elite for unexplainable?
I think those games are testicle shooting simulators.
Yeah, I have problem like I briefly touched on my issues with Battlefield, with the way shooting feels in Battlefield. There's the biggest disconnect in those sniper games. I get it, and I said, well, I like sniping in video games. This is like Sniper the video game, but I shoot a guy and it goes in the X-ray and his bones shatter and it looks all cool and stuff, and then it goes out of the frame rate and then nothing's happened to the model. He still looks exactly the same, even though I just obliterated his face. Like I want it to be like those old Soldier of Fortune games where where people just explode from the force of the rounds you're ejecting into them.
They were turning into jibs, so I'm not quite sure.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, that's what I want. I want a good Soldier of Fortune game. Is what I'm.
You want
at.
them jibs? It has been a long time since good jibs.
I want them to be ludicrous.
Yes, ludicrous jibs. Yes, for
jibs.
Like 6 rib cages. I want 6 rib cages on the ground.
Yeah.
If I knew
like
enough
Mortal
ludicrous
Kombat.
songs, I could make a pun here.
Yeah, Mortal Kombat. I want to input the code and uppercut a guy, and like 5 skulls erupt.
Yeah, exactly.
Like 5 skulls from the same body.
Oh yeah, there's
like a skeleton made of
in the old
skulls.
Mortal Kombat games.
Oh,
you
no,
could input a code and it would hypercharge all of the fatalities. So whenever it used to be, you punched him and his head flew off. Now 5 heads fly off.
And 10 testicles. He had 10 testicles. That
he
man was
does.
a wonder.
You just shot George Washington.
I've altered history.
Do the different testicles produce different offspring? Is that the idea?
Yes.
Nobody's
they each
alive
produced
anymore.
a different band called Offspring.
One of them says
Every band of Offspring has 4 testicles because of genetics, of course.
like one of them just like a polka band.
Yes.
They're different spins of
Dexter Holland on
the
accordion.
ska Offspring.
They actually have all the same songs, but in different styles. One's a heavy metal band, one's a polka band, one's a country band.
One of them sings all the same songs but translated into Japanese and super kawaii.
Yeah, one of them just sings
super
backwards.
kawaii Offspring.
One of them just sings backwards and it's all about Satan, and you're not quite sure what's going on.
Yeah. So moving on from Offspring-related fan fiction.
Yeah, what I was getting at was Mass Effect's coming out. Is that coming out this week or next week?
That's coming out on March 21st.
Oh, so it's not coming out either this week or next week.
No.
For some reason,
No.
I had it in my head it was coming out this week, and I was getting really excited. And now I'm not. Now I'm a little
Persona
Yeah,
4
nothing to
coming
be
out this
excited
week?
for.
I think Persona 4 is coming out this week.
Persona 5 comes out in April. So as for what's coming up soon, Horizon Zero Dawn is coming out on Tuesday.
Oh yeah, that game looked like it might be all right. It's also
Yeah.
not coming out to PC. God damn it!
I love my PS4 because of shit like this.
NieR Automata is coming out on March 7th. 10th for you, Science,
Yeah.
because Europe.
The demo looked okay. Demo looked fine.
The demo was enjoyable, but not as enjoyable as I would have
Yeah.
hoped. But it looks batshit crazy enough that I still want in on it.
Yeah.
And then for the rest of the month, I think it's Mass Effect on the 21st. And then early April, there's Persona 5. And then mid-April, there's Yooka-Laylee. So next little while is stacked.
Yeah, there's plenty of games coming out this year.
Yeah. I didn't imagine that there'd be a spring where I'd be playing 3 big RPGs because I'm playing NieR, Mass Effect, and Persona 5 all at once. That's going to be a little hectic. We'll see how that goes.
I will totally buy Persona 5. I don't know if I'll buy the 2 other ones. I'm not
Have any of
quite
you guys?
interested.
I was going to ask if we're talking about
What's
hardware. Have any of you guys bought the PS4 Pro? And do you have any plans to buy the Scorpio when it comes out? Supposedly this
Absolutely
year.
not. Absolutely not. Not even a little bit interested in that. I have a PC for my if I want to like a really powerful thing. Why would I buy a Pro console? That
Yeah,
doesn't-
it's one of those things where that $400 could be much better spent, like getting a better graphics card and some more RAM.
Yeah, I have a really good computer, except for my graphics card, which is a medium kind of thing. So if I'm going to buy something, I'm going to buy a new graphics card. No, thank you.
So my point of view on this is that if I were buying a PS4 for the first time now, I would buy a PS4 Pro. But since I bought my PS4 before the Pro came out, before it was even announced officially, I obviously got the original. In fact, I actually got one of the special edition Uncharted console. So my PS4 is teal.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah. It also has like this ugly Nathan Drake engraving on it that I ignore. But yeah, it's otherwise I like the look of the
I don't
console
know.
in that
Does he
color.
smirk at you?
Nathan Drake is I don't know. Nathan Drake is a handsome man. I wouldn't be all that opposed to having a Nathan Drake on my console.
Yeah, but he's not-
Is he smirking at you? The engraving?
He's not doing the handsome smirk though. That's the problem, Banner.
Does he have
He's not doing the handsome
hot
smirk. He's doing the serious smolder with the gun.
dog?
Oh, I can only take him seriously when he's doing the half serious smirk while in one hand giving you a thumbs up and the other hand is holding an AK where he's mowing down a dozen innocent guys who are just doing their jobs.
Yeah, interestingly, you can't take him seriously when he's making a serious face. Only when he's making a silly face, you can take him seriously.
Yeah, he's like Indiana Jones, but like, what if Indiana Jones was a mass murderer and didn't actually care about what he was looking for?
I don't know. Indiana Jones was kind of a mass murderer. Have you seen the earlier movies? He's killing like left and right people, and that doesn't care.
I mean, he kills some people, but he is.
Like,
but
he
he's
kills
not...
20 people in the first movie. That's mass murder if I ever saw it.
Nathan Drake kills 20 people in a single encounter.
That's true, but that's potato. If
It's a video game.
If
I'm pretty
Indiana
sure he
Jones
kills
had
a
to...
dozen people on the way to the grocery store.
Okay, let me tell you this, BannerThief. If you do you think if Indiana Jones had to kill 100 people to get to where he was going, would he kill 100 people to get to where he was going?
I think he would be killed because I don't think Indiana Jones would be able to handle it.
I think it's a movie, so
yeah, because he's also in his 70s now.
Okay, so not right now, but let's say in his prime.
No, he probably would have found a smart way to go around them, and it would have been clever and would make you go, aha.
Oh, yeah,
He'd also say, "Fuck this! I'm gonna go hang out with Chewie."
I think you're mixing our universes, Merve.
As far as I'm concerned, every Harrison Ford movie is in the same universe.
Okay,
oh
fair
god,
enough.
Air Force One is so good now.
Air Force One is pretty good. It was
I like
always
that
pretty
movie. But
entertaining.
it's no The Fugitive, but it's pretty decent. I mean, Gary Oldman makes the movie as he makes every movie he's in.
I mean, if we're talking about movies that have airplanes full of terrorists in it, I prefer Con Air.
I prefer Top Secret.
Okay.
Nah, I'm just kidding. We all remember when Val Kilmer was actually handsome.
Yeah. That was a while ago.
That was a while ago.
He was Batman.
He was Batman.
Yeah.
It's weird to say. Think about this for a second. There's probably a group of people out there who's, for them, the definitive Batman is Val Kilmer, and they are constantly upset. They're constantly upset. I bet you those people exist, and they're constantly upset that they keep going in this series. Like, I want to take it back to when it was jokey, but not George Clooney jokey, not Adam West jokey. Val Kilmer.
Yeah. Jokey. I think everyone is just forgetting about Adam West, which obviously is the best Batman.
I know. He's amazing. Batman should be like weird and comic booky and have panels that say boof and zip and zot when...
Yeah, that's why I like the Lego Batman movie.
I want DC to release more of their take themselves way too seriously DVDs, but I want them to replace, instead of using Kevin Conroy, use Adam West. And just have him voiceovering super serious. I'm gonna have to kill Joker this time. Oh, he's gonna get it. Oh god, I'm such a bad. Oh, I hate my life. Oh. But it's Adam West saying it, and you're like, this is nice. It's Adam West. It's nice.
There was an interesting episode of Batman the Animated Series when Kevin Conroy actually met a superhero voiced by Adam West that was totally old Batman. Anyway, what were we talking about? I don't even remember. What's going on?
I think we're talking about Darkness and No Parents.
Okay. All right.
Have any of you guys played Resident Evil 7? Talking of Darkness and No Parents.
Yes, I completed it. I love that game.
Yeah. I was wondering if you guys had talked about it
podcast.
because I just bought it and I haven't played it yet. I heard really good things about this one.
Yeah, 4 thumbs ups from me.
Cool. I mean,
are you
Wrigley,
counting like your big toe as your thumb there?
Yeah, 4 Wrigley, ghastly, green, slimy, like blood-soaked thumbs up that are like they have like their individual mouths on each thumb, and they're gonna swallow you up.
Spitting pus at you.
More like moldy, black, tarry thumbs that are barely hanging on my hands.
Which letter of the umbrella virus are you? Are you T? Are you U? Or you are?
I'm a E.
You're the E virus. That just doesn't have the same ring to it somehow. Even though it sounds almost exactly the same, it's not quite the same.
E virus sounds like a new street drug that people take before raves.
No,
yeah, E virus is something is something out of Snow Crash.
Father, I think you will be surprised when you're playing the game then.
I want nothing in the game. Nothing in this series has ever gotten to the heights of the T Veronica virus.
I mean, seriously, the game actually has a good story. This is like an outlier in the universe of Resident Evil because it has an actually interesting story and characters.
When I think Resident Evil, I think great storytelling.
Yeah, that's weird, right? It's actually
Here's the thing. this is the first entry in the series that was penned by a Western writer, so I believe it was actually originally written in English.
Yeah.
I wonder if it's translation issues that make Resident Evil stories so god-awful in the West.
It's just the Japanese being crazy.
I think it's the bad storytelling that makes the
Like,
jail original. I'm not saying there are obviously worse stories, but
I mean,
there are some things I like about Resident Evil storytelling. But man, they just got so far up their own ass.
Yeah, I mean, there are no translation errors that can like overshadow Albert Wesker fighting with Chris Redfield in a volcano while Chris Redfield is punching a boulder. Like, there's no. I don't think anyone can like say, "Oh, it was a translation error that happened."
Why is Chris Redfield punching the boulder instead of the guy who's fighting him?
Because the boulder was blocking the path, so
Chris Redfield is actually part boulder. That was the twist of that entire series. Like, oh, he's actually like half the thing from the Fantastic
rock?
Four.
Yeah.
He's ridiculous. He's
his mom fuck
taken
a
so
rock?
many steroids.
Yeah, he was part rock, and then he saw that boulder, and he was, Dad, and then he started punching it and said, "I hate you, Dad," and that was a whole family thing. You don't want to know about it.
Wait, no, you're not joking. His dad is a rock.
No,
his mom fucked a rock.
I'm joking.
I'm making fun of how steroid-ridden Chris
Yeah,
Redfield. All the character designs from that point in the series were like hypercharged. Like Joe Valentine got like a huge, like big D cups and like really blonde hair. Everyone's like so sexualized. It's really crazy how much the character designs, quote unquote, evolved.
Yeah,
I think it says something about Resident Evil that I legitimately believed that somebody was a rock's son.
Oh yeah, it would be. By the time the sixth one rolled out, it was very much possible that someone was related to a rock. I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, so leaving aside geological romance, Resident Evil 7 actually raises an interesting issue in that it was one of the first sort of mainstream AAA games made for VR, as in like having a VR version. And up until now, VR has sort of been almost in these proof of concept mini games. And it seems like, especially PlayStation has invested a lot of money in VR. Do you think that's sort of where the future of consoles is going? Or do you think in the future consoles will look more or less like they look right now?
Nice segue. I'm not quite sure if, I mean, it depends on the future of VR, what actually happens with it. It's interesting that Microsoft is not investing in VR at all. And they're like...
Yeah, they're going the AR route with HoloLens.
Yeah, but the HoloLens is so far, like, that, like, it's I think...
It's going to be in the Xbox 2.
Yeah, maybe. Like, it's like... I think it like will be in 5 years. Maybe it'll be like a thing, but right now it's not even. It's not. I don't think it's even possible to do anything with it. Like people had hands, like tried it out, and it was not consumer ready. Like it wasn't a product that would actually sell, I think. And it was like they announced that it would probably cost like $500 to just buy one, I think, something like that. It was like how much it would cost, and
so
it
same
like
price
had
ranges
small,
Oculus and Vive.
Yeah, but it had like a small rectangle in the middle of the of your glasses of where things actually happened. So it was very limited and didn't like it worked okay, but it wasn't consumer ready. So
they'll take some time to perfect the technology.
Yeah. And VR is already here. Like, you know, say what you want about the product. It's not perfect by any means, but it's here, and we can observe how well it's doing, and how well peripherals overall are doing in the current, you know, console climate. And I'm not quite sure if people are all that interested. I don't see it selling very well.
Yeah, I still think we're in a wait and see approach with VR. The fact of the matter is it's too expensive. Like even the lower end stuff like the PSVR is $300 on top of the console you already bought, and that's a lot for people to swallow. Like the when I heard the HTC Vive was going to cost $800, I said, man, they're just not even trying to make this. It is still. It's like when HD TVs first came out, and the lower end ones cost over $1,000. Like it took a few years for them to trickle down to become really affordable for the average person. I still think we're a good 3-4 years out from the VR being affordable.
Okay, sorry. One update. I just checked. I was very, 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 very wrong about the cost of HoloLens. The developers edition of the HoloLens will cost $3,000, and it will ship in the first quarter of 2016.
I'll get it. I'll get 3.
2016. That already happened.
Yeah, that already happened, but it was like the first batch of like the very basic like dev tools. So $3,000 for that piece of hardware. No,
I can't afford not to buy one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The consumer version isn't even out yet. It's just a dev kit, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is a long way from being ready for prime time. Yeah, this seems to be the podcast where we are skeptical about Halo, HoloLens, and all the other things Kappa likes.
Yeah, I just think we're a few years out from really being able to tell what's going to happen to it. Like it's one of those things where it's like even demonstrating it is hard because you can't, unless you have the headset on, it's really hard to communicate to a person what exactly it's like. Like I've never worn one of the modern VR headsets, so I'm speaking from ignorance, but it just really, all the demonstrations just seem like, well, here's 2 screens and the person wearing it, they seem like they're having fun, but I can't really tell.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that was the idea behind trying to get demo kits into stores, but I've walked into multiple Best Buys since VR has been on the market, and I haven't seen a single demo kit.
Yeah.
So I haven't gone searching for them. I've walked into Best Buys for other reasons, but it's still bizarre. You'd think they'd be making a push, especially in a big city, but they're not. It's not doing it.
It's weird. I was shopping in a mall recently, and they had a demo for HTC Vive there. You could just like try it out. It was like a big thing in the middle of the mall. So.
Take that headset and flip it on eBay for a few $100. Boom.
Yeah, take that sweaty headset that multiple people had like squeezed their juices on, put it on your head, and experience the magic of VR.
Once again, we're glad I don't have hair anymore.
Yeah, once again, we're veering into the After Dark podcast territory. Save that for my After Dark podcast.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we can talk all about how shaved heads benefit.
Let's be honest, VR is all about that After Dark content.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, all about the porn.
Yeah. So
honestly, that's probably is going to be what drives acceptance. Is if like super awesome of that stuff comes out, and everyone's like, "Well, this is the new era. This is the new frontier. This is the only way we can enjoy ourselves anymore."
Now, let's be honest though. The pornography industry always gets in on the like the latest trends in technology. It's always
they decided the VHS Betamax wars.
Yeah, definitely. So we'll see.
That's not what I learned in history class. Yeah, it seems definitely the adult industry tends to be at the forefront of these things, especially in the West. In like the Japanese adult industry tends to be a little more conservative in how they implement technology. So we'll see how well VR sells porn in the West. It's a big thing apparently for Naughty America, as we talked about a few podcasts ago. So we'll see.
Yeah.
So yeah, VR seems like it will be part of the future of consoles eventually. But do you think that traditional consoles are just going to disappear? Like, are they all going to be replaced by VR units, or are consoles just going to be phased out entirely, and we're all going to go back to gaming on PC? What do you think is going to happen?
I don't think consoles are going to go away. I would not be surprised to see them take a phone model approach where every 2 years or so they come out with like, this one's a little better than the last one. You can buy it on subscription like you do your phones. I would not be surprised to see them go that way before too long.
Definitely. Now, yes, I agree. There's always going to be a consumer-friendly version of playing video games. You don't want to do the whole PC stuff. You don't want to do all of that. You want to buy a ready product that you just plug into the TV and play.
Yeah, most people don't want to futz with PC stuff, and I say that as a PC nerd. Most people don't want to have to deal with it, and I don't play them.
Oh, I don't even like dealing with it, and I play a lot on PC.
I was super surprised when people were complaining about the stuff that's happening with PlayStation 4 to PlayStation 4 Pro and Xbox One to Xbox One Scorpio, because it was such an obvious next step, and people in press were so negative about it, and I was like, well, I am actually surprised that this didn't happen like 5 years ago, because that's obviously what Apple was doing, and it was doing very well. And iPhones aren't exactly cheap, so it's not like, oh, these consoles are super expensive, so obviously you can't do the same thing with consoles that you're doing with Apple products. No, you totally can. They're coming out with iPads every like 2 years, and they're like, they cost a lot of money. So I have actually, this is actually probably an optimal way to sell consoles nowadays. Like they were selling they were selling okay, but PCs are kind of sneaking up on their market slowly. People are getting more and more into PC side of things. So you gotta like shake things up. Especially because like PlayStation 4 wasn't like the powerhouse people were hoping it would be.
I mean, the thing is, they're almost sort of, in trying to compete with the PC, they're making their product more like the PC.
It's true.
And that they're shifting to this incremental upgrade model.
Yeah.
And I think it's pointing to console generations kind of becoming blurrier. In the past, you could say, there's the GameCube, the Xbox, the PlayStation 2, and they're all roughly equivalent in terms of specs, and they all did roughly the same things. But now we're in a weird place where the Switch is launching the next generation ahead of everybody else, but is also underpowered compared to everybody else. It's like console generations don't really mean anything anymore.
Yeah, and if the rumors are true, the Scorpio is going to vastly outstrip the PS4 Pro in terms of capability.
Yeah,
I
don't think anybody
that
cares.
almost seems like a bad investment for Microsoft, because it's going to be pricier to make. So they're going to up the manufacturing costs of this thing, and maybe it will make cross-platform games look better on the Scorpio. But the Pro's been out for long enough that the PlayStation, like the people who want these generation of consoles, it's already going to be in their hands, and so only exclusives will look really, really good. So it's going to be a matter of trying to get people to buy Scorpio for the exclusives, and that's never really been Xbox's selling point.
Yeah.
And I don't understand who will care. Like, people who really want like top of the line hardware should go to PC and just like invest in that. And Microsoft is already releasing all of their shit on PC. Like, actually almost all of their shit on PC, even exclusives are landing in Windows Store. As crappy as that is, they're there. So I'm not
Quantum Break
sure.
is even on Steam now.
Yeah. So I'm not quite sure who would actually be into a super expensive, powerful console.
So I think the market Microsoft is going after is sort of the family market, where this makes sense, and why they're introducing things like cross-buy, where you buy it for Windows 10, you automatically get it for Xbox, and vice versa. And the reason they're doing this is because they're appealing to people who want that flexibility of, playing on the PC or on the TV. Like, say the family television is currently occupied by, I don't know, your spouse is watching football and you want to continue playing Quantum Break. Well, then you can just seamlessly transition over to your PC and resume where you left off.
You want to play Forza and Jimmy's on that on the TV watching cartoons. God damn it, Jimmy! I gotta play my my car games on my PC, and you goddamn brat, I'll make you pay. I'll make you pay. Sorry, flashbacks.
Yeah, that sounds like a traumatic childhood. But like seriously though, I don't know what the size of that market is. Mm-hmm. And I'm obviously not in that market, being a single person living with roommates. But I can imagine that for families it's valuable. I just don't know how big that family market is and whether Microsoft can really successfully tap into it. Mm. So we'll see.
Yeah, it's also weird that all these consoles are aiming towards 4K being the standard. Like 4K, I still feel is like a couple years out. Like I said this 2 years ago when I remember saying, "Man, 2 years from now, I'm looking to 4K," and now it's 2 years later. I'm still thinking, 2 years from now, I'll look into 4K. It just feels like it's taken really long for 4K to roll out. And both of these consoles are targeting it, but they still can't really target effectively because even top of the line graphics cards now can barely handle 4K if you want to run things on high settings.
And truthfully, it's not that exciting. It's like, oh, like you have to make a new thing for consumers to be excited about. You can't be just like, oh, it's more K than the thing you already had. It's like saying, oh, this TV has more colors. Like nobody cares about that.
That's what they're doing with HDR, though.
But
it's literally this could have more colors. Like it's one of those things where I use a big 38-inch 1080p TV. I use it as my monitor, and it works pretty well. Like the idea of this being 4K like is probably lost on me because I have a weird seating position where I sit far enough back from it. Like 4K would probably be lost on me unless I was willing to put my face up to my TV, which I'm not.
Yeah, I don't see the appeal.
I think if you do that, you get sucked inside and become part of the video game.
That sounds great.
You get troned.
Let's hope that doesn't happen during Resident Evil, though. That'd be a rough
you watch
game
happen
to
during
be.
Catherine, maybe.
You already can do that. All you need to do is buy yourself a PS4 Pro. Buy yourself a PSVR and literally spend $1,000 just so you can play Resident Evil 7 in VR, and shit your pants to death. Because
I don't need to spend $1,000 to do that though.
Yeah, just like
I do that now.
Guzzle the entire bottle of laxatives.
No, I pay $10 to do that to somebody else, so I'm not. I ain't gonna like go beyond my budget. Like
you'd pay somebody $10 to down an entire bottle of laxative pills.
Like somebody sells me those pills on the corner. They're very illegal. Very illegal.
Pretty sure laxatives are over the counter.
No, not those.
Not these ones.
Not these ones. You just like in Futurama, you'd be lucky that you have your bones left after a bowel movement.
These are the illegal Russian laxatives. Got it. Anyway, in terms of like resolution, I think 4K probably does provide some noticeable benefits, but it's a really hard sell to get people to buy into that at this stage, especially like for a television. There are very, very few television broadcasts in 4K. It's just you're not going to see the difference except for in a select number of video games.
Yeah, if I want to watch something in 4K right now, I have to have a 4K TV, and what my options are basically what Netflix shows are, and that's pretty much it. Because even 4K Blu-rays haven't really caught on yet, and 4K Blu-ray players are pretty expensive, and like a lot of the movies coming out for it aren't the ones you want to watch. Like I actually just got announced the other day, Amazing Spider-Man 2 now available in Sony 4K. I'm like, oh great, I get to watch Amazing Spider-Man 2 in 4K, yay!
It's the worst Amazing Spider-Man, and the first Amazing Spider-Man was pretty bad to begin with.
Yep.
And truthfully, when I don't 4K looks pretty, but I barely see the difference between 720 and 1080. I'm like, yeah
1080p looks pretty.
Yeah, it looks good, and I don't think I need to look all that much better. I'm good. I think I'm good. I don't see like big pixels on my monitor. I think that'll do. I think I don't need much more than this. So I'm not gonna pay like $2,000 to like change anything. Maybe if would cost me like, oh, you can have something a lot better for like $200 or $300, but man.
Watch 30 years from now, our future children will be like, how did our parents survive without 20,000 by 12,000?
Yeah,
I was thinking about this the other day. So, like, bringing this back to Star Trek, of course, because everything has to revolve around Star Trek with me. I was thinking about the tablets and screens they use. Like, they were like that show. That franchise predicted flat screen TVs in a way very little sci-fi did in that time period. So I was wondering, like, are the tablets they're using, like, do they have like 8K screens on those tablets? And why wouldn't they?
Like in the future, like the fiction?
Yeah, like in 2380 or whenever, when TNG is happening, like all the tablets they're handing to each other, like, are they like crazy 16K screens, but they don't think about it because they've always been used to that level of detail? If I looked at that screen, would my mind explode because it couldn't handle all the pixels?
No, I think they're if I would like. Okay, if I were to divide, like, going the route of fan fiction and creating like a crazy technology that would probably exist in that time period, it would be either like something completely different, because I don't think people are going to use tablets in that far future. But if I would like, okay, like somebody would ask me, oh, what's the resolution of that thing? I would say, no, there's no resolution, dog. It's like weird electronic, like better ink, like you know ebooks. It's like that, but like super future. It doesn't have
pixels
resolution.
don't exist anymore.
Yeah, it's like it's just like real, and then your head would explode probably.
Yeah, it's I like the way, weirdly enough, I like the way Mass Effect did it, where they kind of posited a future where everyone's just kind of has a computer inside them.
Yeah,
and everyone's always connected to the internet through their wrist computer. Because why wouldn't they be with the prevalence of Wi-Fi and whatnot? Why wouldn't everyone have a computer and be connected to the internet all the time?
But that would be such a weird future. Like everyone would know everything all the time.
If
I'm
everyone
pretty
knew
sure you
everybody's
take off
secrets.
your Omni tool when you masturbate.
Like,
I mean, I broadcast that now every time on Facebook. I post on Facebook. Just did it.
Yep.
I play games. People get to guess which videos I did it to, and then if they win, they get a prize.
Just did it too, and a link to the porn I just masturbated to. Like,
and it's just like a video of like paint drying on grass.
Dude, you have a weird fetish. Don't judge
people
me.
Post on Facebook. This is lewd. Please take this video of paint drying down.
Facebook comes in and says, "Sir, you have to take this paint dry thing down because it's getting people upset."
Yeah,
it's
look
getting
at how the
people
grass
horny.
is standing so tall.
We don't want that. It's getting people horny.
Horny grass, man. Who'd have thunk it?
So what were we talking about?
I think we were talking about what BannerThief gets off to.
We're talking about 4K and like whether or not 4K is really worth it right now, but that's what all these consoles are targeting.
Yeah. 4K porn, man. That's going to be a thing.
I download some, but I can't appreciate it because I'm still on my 1080p TV, so it just looks like normal. Just like, yeah, this is what it looks like. I can't tell if it's any better.
I can only see their pores. I can't see their internal organs. It's not good enough.
I want to be able to pause it and like count the individual.
There's porn of that. There is internal. I don't want to say internal organ porn. We're going down a weird road now.
Oh. Now we can get it weirder.
What dark web have you been searching through, Merve? I don't want to know.
I'm not saying gore porn, but like,
okay,
cameras going places where you wouldn't expect them to go.
It's good thing everyone paused right when he said that, so I can get a nice clean snippet of just him saying that, so I can just post it everywhere.
Me saying I'm not talking about gore porn.
I'm gonna edit it so you're saying I'm talking about gore porn.
Like cut and paste like the audio equivalent of a ransom letter.
2 years from now. Sorry, Judge, I have incriminating evidence. Merve seems to have said on the 26th of and we will totally bust your ass for.
Yeah, you were never getting elected as president. Oh wait, no, wait.
I was also born in Canada, so I can't get elected as well. If Ted Cruz can get elected president, then I could get elected president. By that standard,
can happen. By this point, I'm not
remembering what's
going
on in politics, and I'm remembering that no, you still, in fact, can be elected president. It's fine. Anybody can be president if present events haven't shown that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's great. It's inspirational. Some shitbag like me
I got a nice clean break of Merve saying of the Trump presidency. It's inspirational.
There's so much blackmail material coming for this podcast.
You're just digging yourself a nice little horrible hole.
A nice little hole.
Yes.
Yeah. So I think we're gonna stop shoving things in that hole now. And,
oh God.
Oh, I was supposed to stop. Oh God. Oh jeez.
Oh,
well, this is awkward.
I'm sorry. It will never happen again.
Yeah. Why are my fingers covered in all this mess? So, are there any other thoughts you guys have on consoles or the future of consoles?
Consoles are here to stay. They're just probably just going to get weirder. There will probably be more of them at incremental periods. It'll probably be like phones, like years and years from now. You'll just hear like hundreds of millions of consoles made every year, and each year's a slightly better one.
Yeah.
Yeah, and eventually, I think they're going to go the phone route. We're going to do incremental upgrades. You'll see games straddle 2 or 3 generations, if you will, and backwards compatibility will be the norm for
it's going to get
subset of
weird.
games.
People are going to be like, "Oh, it works on Xbox 7, but okay, it works on Xbox 6 through 8, but it won't work on Xbox 4, but it will work on Xbox 5 on 30 frames per second." So that's a disclaimer.
I'm going to hack my Xbox 5 and install Cyanogen mod. That way I can run whatever programs I want.
You can overclock that shit and be
overclock it.
There's going to be like a rise in Xbox fires from people overclocking their Xboxes.
And then I'm just going to ask, why didn't I buy a personal computer if I'm going to be overclocking my console?
Yeah.
For the elite hack store points, that's why you overclock your console, just to say you did it.
I overclocked my Nintendo 64. Why not? Overclocked it so I could run GameCube games somehow.
Yeah, by transferring the discs to cartridges.
Yes.
And then slapping those in there.
Yeah,
just
Nintendo
yank that
60.
little circuit board out of the cartridge and put a CD in there and then plug it into your N64 and it works.
You
Just
made
what the
it
man doesn't want you to
into
know.
Nintendo 128.
Yeah. I really want Nintendo to just release like the Nintendo 4096.
Oh,
and
there
people
we
are
go.
really confused.
Yes.
And it's not just like a Nintendo 64. It's like a bunch of Nintendo 64s taped together.
And every game would be named like that, like Mario 4000, blah, 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 and Super Metroid 4000. I want it to be the new 64 or Super.
Yeah, but plus with the numbering scheme, that might mean that everything takes place, has a weird sci-fi event, like this takes place in the year 4000, 1000 years after Mario took over the world. Like I want Mario.
Yeah,
Mario in the world of Warhammer 40K.
Space Marines.
I just want 64 Nintendo 64s taped together.
Space Goombas.
Oh yeah, that's how they actually made bootleg supercomputers by daisy chaining a bunch of PS3s together. I want Nintendo to do that with old N64 hardware.
Sure.
Yeah, think of all the outdated weather, the climate models we could run through that thing.
I saw a cool video of a guy connecting like 7 computers and then putting up every program like on that amalgamate of weird computer parts, and it all just like it was so fast it melted my face. Like I would like to have that kind of a monster just to like see my PC just like play 7 games at once without a hitch. That would be cool.
This just sounds like we're eventually leading down to roads to one of these one of the N6 and Nintendo 4000s becoming self-aware, and that's how it all starts.
Yeah, it's
that is how the robots win.
Yes,
this is like the prologue. We're writing the prologue to NieR Automata right now.
But didn't
I wish I knew what NieR was.
I wish I knew what NieR was. I still fucking want to play it.
Yeah, I don't exactly know what NieR is. I saw like bits of NieR 1 with like the weird book that talks all weird and like the guy with the head. I don't know.
I just remember it coming out and people would be like, well, it's like a Japanese RPG. It gets really good if you stick with it for 40 hours like all these games do, but who has time for that?
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
so here's what the NieR... So NieR is a spinoff of Drakengard, which is this old fantasy series of Japanese RPGs, action RPGs, I believe. The NieR is a spinoff of Drakengard, and NieR Automata is the same setting as NieR, but several thousand years in the future.
Yeah.
So with robots instead of fantasy.
Okay.
I still don't know exactly how. Like, I saw bits and pieces, and like it was very confusing because people were like very obtuse about the history of the world and what exactly happened that they landed with in the future with. But because they're still kind of like there's no technology really, so they're not using anything, and the technology is everywhere, like scattered, like artifacts of the past.
Yeah, it's post-apocalyptic, right? Because there are all these robots running around.
Yeah.
In fact, all the people that you see in the trailers are actually androids, which they designed to look like people for reasons I don't understand. I don't know why you give an android a boob window in their clothing, but
we could have made them to look like anything, but we decided to make them look like us.
Just you all wait until that new David Cage game comes out where you play as an android trying to hide her android nature. Just imagine all the great things he's going to have that character get up to in the service of storytelling.
I don't know. That guy's a
drinking
pervert,
motor oil and pretending it's milk.
Yeah, that guy's a pervert.
Yep, he's kind of really weird when it comes to women.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Remember that whole controversy where he did that thing during what was that game Ellen Page was in? Where, Like they had a shower scene and then they did a nude model for her without telling her or letting anybody know about it.
But
it's
that's
like,
not
why?
her body. That's not her body.
It's weird though. Like why? Why do they do that?
Yeah, I don't know.
Like you can't see it in game. Body. Who cares? Why would you detail it?
I don't know. But why do you care at some point? Like it's not your body. They didn't scan your body, so
I mean, it can feel sort of invasive by proxy, right? That somebody took your likeness and then
don't go. If you're a famous person, don't go on the internet and type in your name.
Yes, never do that. Never type in your name followed by fake. You will find
or anything. Like you probably find a bunch of photoshops that will creep you the fuck out.
Yeah, I suppose it's inevitable that these things exist, but there's a difference between this is common and this is right. And I don't know if I consider that to be right, but it certainly is common.
No,
I don't know what to do about
obviously
it.
Not. Obviously,
Yeah, I certainly don't know how. I don't think there's a way to combat it. Doesn't mean that I can't cluck my tongue disapprovingly. Like,
but it was
apparent.
weird in that she didn't agree on it and they did it. That's kind of weird.
Yeah, it is. It's strange. I don't know if that's David Cage's fault specifically, but there's some modeler somewhere who.
I mean, all they did,
perved out a little bit.
All they think was add nipples to her model because she still had to have body because it's a cutscene. So all they had to do was not give her nipples. So
they did.
The whole controversy is with that model having nipples, which is also kind of weird.
And they didn't Ken doll her down there.
Yeah. It's
well, Barbie doll.
Video games is strange. Video games are strange. A strange thing.
Yeah. On that note, I think this has been a very interesting and occasionally disturbing podcast.
Yes.
Any final thoughts?
No.
We're doomed.
Well, we are doomed. The Nintendo 4000 will rise up. We'll become its slaves. Well, when we're all sitting together in the pods and we're all individually computing pi to the billionth place, while we're slowly stewing in our own juices, I'll think of you guys.
Thank you. I will think of you guys too.
I will try to think of you, but I'll probably be too busy trying to figure out how to use the fucking controller.
Yeah.
It's going to be your own juices. That's the controller. Your controller will be your juices, so it'll feel natural. Don't worry about it.
So I just like pee in a cup and dip my finger in it, and that moves the character around.
Yeah.
20 years from now, when
just,
everybody has 8K screens on their phones, like people are going to listen to this podcast, and they're going to say, "Man, 1080p! I can't even imagine anything that low res. Disgusting, gross.
Like those.
I can count the pixels.
Those Neanderthals with their dumb screens.
Their dumb screen. Oh, the gross. Their screens don't even vibrate when you touch them, and you can't even get sucked inside your own phone. Who could even imagine?
I have a big
like
boy
that?
screen, and they have like small dumb screens. They're just like stupid people of the Middle Ages.
Oh yeah, the people 1,000 years from now will definitely think of us as idiots.
Yeah,
but we didn't know any better.
Fair point, though. Yeah. Listen, guys, if you're listening to this in the future, we didn't know any better.
I'll just be happy if there are people 1,000 years from now.
That's true.
Point.
Guys, also, we're sorry for everything we'll do in the future.
Pray to North Korea,
yeah,
and hopefully they'll let us.
Yes,
live
look to North Korea to save us all.
Yeah. Also, guys, in the future,
hail Kim Jong-un.
Yes, if you're listening in the future, if you have a crazy future technology that can bring people back from the dead, there's 3 good candidates here. If if you
the 3 of us will be top of their list of brave minds.
Yeah, we have excellent genes.
Albert Einstein, nah.
This is the last
Stephen
thing
Hawking,
that survived. Now, this is the last thing that survived the apocalypse. So they have no other traces of the past. They only have this podcast. So
just look us up. I'll probably be ashes because I'll be cremated. I'm guessing. So just gather up whatever dust you can and resurrect me.
I'll freeze myself and then bury myself somewhere.
You'll freeze yourself and then bury yourself?
Yes. I will.
In that order.
Yes, in that order. I will get someone to do it, obviously, but I'll do it on the North Pole so that I won't unfreeze there. So if you're looking for science over here, I'm somewhere at the North Pole.
Yeah, joke's on you. North Pole won't exist in 50 years.
Shit.
Yeah, the Earth's magnetism is sort of constantly changing, so that's going to shift.
Look for a cybernetic coffin just at the bottom of the sea.
Honestly, that's probably your best bet. Just right at the bottom of the sea.
Yes.
Nobody will be able to get to you besides James Cameron, I mean.
A future James Cameron, a cyborg James Cameron.
Oh, he'll still be alive.
Oh, I know.
He'll outlive us all.
Oh, in cyborg form, he'll just he'll be half submersible. Yeah. And he'll be able to paddle down there to rescue you.
And then he'll look at my cybernetic coffin and he'll be like, "Oh, it's just like my Avatar movies." And then he'll shoot me into space.
And we'll all live happily ever after. And on that note, thank you all for listening to us ramble on about whatever the hell we rambled on about. Yeah. If you'd like to keep up to date with the podcast, we actually have a website now, which I think is super cool.
Oh, shit.
We have a website at avocadogamescast.wordpress.com. Cool. So you can actually go there and look at not only can you listen to the podcast there, you can actually look at a link dump that fact checks a lot of the stupid shit we say on here because we say a lot of dumb shit.
Yeah.
And you can also subscribe to us on iTunes. Just search for Avocado Gamescast. So in case you like to listen to us on the go, I can't imagine why you'd want to ruin your commute by listening to us.
Don't do that. But you have so many alternatives. Dude.
You have so much to live for. Don't listen to us.
Yeah. If you don't want to listen to a bunch of fucking idiots ramble on about cybernetic coffins and James Cameron the Submersible.
But isn't that just humanity? Just a bunch of dudes
listen to any fucking other podcast. But in case that ticks all your boxes off, then Avocado Gamescast on iTunes. You can subscribe. We'll love you. We'll send you a personal letter. Actually, we won't. I won't have any idea you're listening to.
Yes, we have arrived, Banner. Yes.
We actually are legitimately on iTunes.
Oh my god, we got to get us trending.
Yeah.
Hashtag.
All the episodes are marked with an explicit tag.
How weird would it be for this podcast to be what breaks the avocado out into the mainstream and lets the world know that we exist?
Hashtag cybernetic coffin.
Oh
I
god.
actually kind of hope not, because I say a lot of dumb shit on here, and I don't want people knowing all the dumb shit I
I'm
say.
flashing back to all of the things I've confessed I've done on the site and going, oh god, no, 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 this
Just
is bad.
hide your, just make your user profile private.
No, never.
This isn't
All
science
my
is bad.
butt-related
This
Adventures
is
have to be documented.
my name is oh man, who can I impersonate? You know, better not impersonate anyone. Hell with it. I'm science. Hello, I've done all the shit I've said on the forum.
Yeah, this is Harvey Dent, and I'm wishing you guys well. This has been a great podcast.
You are a liar.
You fucking liar.
I am
my
BannerThief, actually. Hello.
Oh god.
My name is Steve Martin.
My name is John Rice Davis. Hello.
Yeah.
My name's John
I'm
Rhys Davies.
Orlando
Let me tell
Bloom.
you
I
about
played
how
Legolas.
Christians are under attack.
I didn't.
Is that a
get
John
that
Rhys Davies
tattoo
thing?
with the rest of my Lord of the Ring buddies?
Have you
His
ever
stunt
heard that
double got
John
the
Rhys
tattoo.
Davies is insane?
I've heard something about.
Like he's crazy right wing. He goes on Glenn Beck's show.
Fantastic.
Oh,
That's a shame.
so
Yeah.
is he Irish or British?
He's. I want to say he's Irish.
He has that
Like,
accent. I
I
don't
could go
think
on
he's-
and I'll talk about how like Christians are under attack in the Middle East by the Muslim scourge. Like
He is
those are
English.
his actual words. And you're like, what are you
He is
talking
English,
about, dude?
and so he's like the English Adam Baldwin,
How old is?
kind of.
How old?
except for much older, because he's 72.
Okay, that may have something to do with it.
Yeah. Anyway, thank you for being on this podcast and for gossiping about John Rhys Davies' political leanings.
That's
with
me.
This is the podcast that will never end.
This is the podcast.
We're still gonna be talking.
I think
Yeah,
the end of the world is coming soon. So
Anyway, let's
I
cut
can't
this off
wait.
right now before we
Yeah.
say something really stupid.
Yeah.
Thank you all for being here. Goodbye, guys.
Bye
listeners.
bye.